Okay.
Erase that second line, I was just using it. Well, unfortunately, I draw from it. Just gotta throw it out every day. It was nice of them, we got some yesterday. Deal with it later. Yes, I need to get more of that cleaner. Okay, how is YouTube today? Good. All right, we have Harper online on Teams. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. What would? Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the sunshine. We thank you for this nice weather you've given us. We ask that you watch over the Civil Patrol and give them strength and help them perform their missions that have been assigned to them. Provide them with safety and fair travels. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. So, thank you, Bob. Thank you, everybody, for attending the meeting today. In the beginning of a meeting, I'd like to take a moment and say a few words about Lieutenant Colonel Jim Hatoy, who passed this past Sunday. He was fighting cancer, and unfortunately he lost, but he's been trying hard to beat it. So now Facebook page, Roy Knight, who knew Jim long over a period of their service for organization, wrote a nice article about Jim, and I suggest you take a moment and read it. Actually, I can read it for benefit of all. So today, on Sunday, Riverside Squadron 5 and Civil Air Patrol lost a great friend. This morning, on Saturday, Lieutenant Colonel James Hatoy flew west on his final sortie after a short battle with cancer. Hailing from Batavia, New York, he and his wife Sue lived all over the United States as he progressed in an academic career. Finally, settling with homes in both Palm Springs and Vancouver, Washington, Lieutenant Colonel Hatoy joined Civil Air Patrol in 1999. Settling in Palm Palm Springs Squadron 11. After a career as a college professor and college president, he retired and devoted a great deal of his time and experience to CAP. Jim was a command pilot, check pilot examiner, mission check pilot examiner, airborne operations branch manager, even an airborne photographer. He flew all missions, including the Reaper escort mission to New York. He held a commercial certificate with single-in multi-engine land, single-engine sea, and instrument ratings. He was a CFI with a single-engine land rating. Perhaps Jim's greatest impact has been serving as California Wing Group Director of Counter-Drug Operations for the last several years, maintaining a robust counter-drug effort in various segments of our area of operation. He came to this position through the ranks and after many hours of flying those missions. His love of the mission and affinity for those who flew it was apparent in the way he immersed himself in the endeavor. Certainly his influence will be felt through the program for years to come. Jim's contribution to Civil Air Patrol are many and diverse. From search and rescue counter-drug pilot to region staff college faculty, from primary instructor pilot for cadets and to counter-drug mission manager, from airborne photographer to Reaper escort pilot. Certainly a prodigious level of accomplishment. However, it should be noted that Jim was always approachable with great empathy and wonderful sense of humor. His voice was big and his laugh was loud and unmistakable. He will be greatly missed in every way. It is only appropriate that shortly after Jim flew west this morning, CAP 487 flew one solo counter-drug mission. The aircraft is assigned to his home squadron, Palm Springs Squadron 11, and an airplane in which he flew hundreds of hours and many counter-drug sorties himself, and in which he trained many pilots and cadets. Jim saw a lot of sunsets in this G1000. This morning, on Sunday, CAP 487 was flown by Riverside Squadron 5 Commander, myself, Andrei Tikhonov, and Empire Group 3 Operations Officer Major Terry Pratt on sortie A0728. We flew for 3.2 hours low level in the airplane, most impactful segment of our area of responsibility in the professional manner we expect of all of our pilots. Wedged in between the panel and windscreen, always in view, was a folded American flag in honor of Lieutenant Colonel James Hatoy and the outstanding service he performed for our community and nation. Ops normal, Jim. We'll see you at the big RTB. Well, I had very limited time to be around Jim, but I share every single word Major Knight wrote about him. The last time I had an opportunity to be with him was at Counter Drug when he told us it will be his last sortie. I don't remember exact date, sometime this spring I believe, and he said that he is going to Washington for family reasons. We didn't know what was going on up until fairly recently when we learned that he was fighting cancer. So Jim will be remembered, and I hope those of you who had chance to know Jim share the sympathy, and more details about the funeral and service will be shared through the common channels, and I will definitely update our squadron on this matter when time comes. Alright, so the initiative of retiring a flag in memory of Jim Hatoy was Major Pratt's. He purchased the flag. We had it on the calling of CAP 487. We wrapped it and we flew it back from Imperial to Riverside. So I will print some pictures of Jim in the form of a postcard, and we will send it from the name of our squadron and in the name of CEP to Jim's family in Vancouver, Washington. All right. So let's go to other topics. From aircraft status update, 743 Charlie Papa is still in Northern California. Zelda, last time I've heard, is in maintenance. I actually don't know the whereabouts of the aircraft at the moment, and I don't know the exact status when it's coming out of maintenance. I've heard that they had issues with engine mount on that aircraft, and it's being taken care of. We will get, until 743 Charlie comes back, or Zelda, which is 7598 Zulu, we will have 636 Charlie Papa aircraft, which is currently at maintenance 1, and the maintenance should be completed by, I hope, end of this week. Meanwhile, we still have 887 Charlie Papa, which is Palm Springs aircraft, in our hangar. So if you need to get on pilot proficiency, or if you're observer and you need a proficiency flight with a pilot, it's available, and it's completely airworthy. Aircraft flew great. It does have a couple of discrepancies, not affecting the normal operations in VFR conditions. It's not suitable for IFR because the database is out of date. It just needs to be updated, and autopilot is inoperational. Problem is that the OTA sensor and AHRS are not functional on that aircraft, which requires avionics shop to look at it. We will return the aircraft back to Palm Springs, and their maintenance officer will arrange repairs for the avionics as required. The aircraft, which is the reason for 743 Charlie Papa to go to NorCal, is currently in Imperial, and it's waiting for new set of magnetos and ignition harness. So they believe the issue is related to improper wiring of ignition harness at the time when the engine was overhauled. That's all we have on that. Any questions on aircraft? Alright, so as far as future events go, it's going to be a little quiet, I think, apart from the Huntington Beach Air Show, which those interested to volunteer can sign up via email link shared over past few weeks. We will have Riverside Airport Halloween event, which is ran by Airport Cafe. It would be a great idea to be there, roll in our aircraft, and bring cadets from neighboring squadrons. If you are interested, please let me know. I will coordinate with Corona Squadron, who brought it to my attention as an option for recruitment. Yes. The details I can share in a link. It can be found on the Facebook page of Riverside Airport Cafe. It's gonna be on October 14th. So 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Say the date again, please.
Right there.
October 14th.
Yes.
14th.
October 14th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. So we will put together a sign-up sheet, send it to the whole squadron. If you're interested, let me know. Unfortunately, I cannot be there and departing on an international trip overseas on that very day. But if you can make it there, be in uniform, and I will put you in touch with Squadron Commander from Corona. From emergency services professional development point of view, I hope that myself and Chris Younger will become sets for mission scanner, mission observer roles. I will also be a set for transport mission pilot, and eventually, once I have enough experience from overall requirement point of view, a mission pilot set at some point, but it's long way for me to go. That will definitely open a lot more opportunities for our squadron members to get required ratings. So Mike Swift nominated me as a set. I cannot self-nominate. It went up the ranks, and I nominated Chris. So now it's up to I believe group level to approve it, then from group it goes to the wing, and once it all clears up, our contact information will be published on PRMA, a Pacific Region mobile app. And after I'm done with a few more updates, I will spend some time reminding what PRMA is and how to get it on your mobile phones, and what kind of information you can find there. One more item I'd like to bring to your attention is the California Wing overall organizational climate survey, which was distributed via email. So it went to all members of California Wing. It's definitely in your mailbox, so I highly recommend you to take a few minutes and fill it out. Why it's important? Because we are having a command change at the wing level. We have a new wing commander who will take over this role at the wing conference. That we have high hopes for the new wing commander, and that he will change the overall climate of organization within the wing. And this is anonymous opportunity to give a feedback to the leadership, to the new leadership of the wing, what is going right, what is going wrong. I found that survey very properly worded. All the right questions are being asked, and be honest with yourself. Don't try to make it look better if you feel like it's not. I think it will be an opportunity for us to give a feedback through the survey initially. And I suggested, and I'm pretty sure other leaders from the group level will also try to influence the new leadership to establish focus groups on specific issues identified through this survey. Like we literally need to reinvent in many ways what CEP is doing and how we are doing certain things. Starting from new member onboarding, what kind of missions we are flying, how we are trained, how we are evaluated, how we make sure that the organization stays vigilant and effective in many ways, and how we as members get as much as possible from organization to benefit us, and because the organization is as good as the members creating that organization. So the email for that survey was sent by Major Nicholson. If you search for COG organizational climate survey or just climate survey, you'll find there is only one. So super easy to find. I will post the name for that subject in the channel in a moment. Okay, and I will also post that Halloween event there too. The Fullerton Cyrex was cancelled due to the weather. The weather was interesting. A quick update on our flight back. We actually had to wait quite a bit before we managed to return on Sunday. the weather stayed solid overcast pretty late. We waited until March Air Force reported VFR, and essentially came over March and slid under the deck to land at Riverside. It was marginal VFR, and it was just breaking up around 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. at Riverside. It was very interesting. So that basically motivated me to invest a solid effort and finish my IFR, because this is exactly when it would become useful. It was perfect IFR weather for legal, safe IFR flight. Yes.
Experiencing that over the weekend as well. On Saturday, I had to cancel booking that I had in the 172 down here at Next Gen, and was barely able to get out the end of the day on Sunday. So just to get some currency laps in.
When we were departing on Friday for Imperial, we also had to wait up until 1:30 p.m. or almost 2 p.m. I think we departed close to 2 p.m. and we had to scratch afternoon sortie at Imperial, because by the time we got there it was too late. So we only flew 2 sorties on Saturday and 1 sortie on Sunday over there, and we were the only air crew and 1 mission director, so all 3 people all together from the whole California wing, which was very strange. Usually we have at minimum 2 air crews, and it was only 1. And again, it was very strange that the only aircraft flying was 887 Charlie Papa. All right, so that's all I had as far as updates go. Any questions, comments? Maybe I missed anyone. Yes?
It is on Tuesday night. Will we still be having meeting that day?
It's the 15th, actually.
It is? Oh.
Marcus, good night.
Nighthawk.
Oh, it is Nighthawk.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So
I think it's the last
yeah,
one.
we can do some trick or treating, I guess. I will send out well in advance for that Nighthawk. Sign up spreadsheet, and definitely if you cannot make it, it's okay. I mean, it's a social event. Who can make it, make it. Otherwise, it's fine. One more element of an update organizationally. We submitted our budget. With the present membership, our only option, conservative option on membership dues, is $300 a month for everybody. One caveat: for family membership, if it's more than 1 member from a family, we will cut second membership in half. So for you guys, it will be 300 and 150. I think it's fair because it's a heavy load on the family budget. Everyone else, I will distribute the invoices with Michelle's help shortly, probably sometime next week. Yes, Michael?
Okay, I'm glad that you, I guess it was National that brought us down to 300 instead of 424?
No, we are hoping that the difference in the budget will be covered through fundraising events we will work on.
That's good, because it occurred to me that when the dues goes up, you're gonna have people that are have difficulty making the dues to join, and you'd set up a negative feedback loop. And
well, I agree. That's why we discussed it within finance committee, and we agreed that having too much of $425, which will definitely break us even, make it more affordable at the level of, yes, at the level we already had in past year of 200 plus 100 optional, right? So now we are making it 300 hard, right? And it gives us an opportunity to motivate ourselves and go and do fundraising. Now, what if we raise more funds, right? and then we can consume. The funds will be carried forward to the next year, and potentially we can reduce the next year membership. The other way we can reduce next year membership is when we actually bring more members, right? So in my mind, and I think we talked about it to the new members, $300 gives good value for membership, especially to the pilots, because we get enough value from other benefits we get through organization. And I encourage as many members as possible to get into aircrew roles or other emergency services roles, so you can participate more in CEP activities. Yes.
Just one clarification. When you're speaking, you said per month, but I'm pretty sure you meant
Per year, not per month. Sorry.
yeah.
That would be way too much.
I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Thanks. Good catch. Because
In
yes.
the past, we've split that in half and said that you can pay it in 2 payments, but they gotta be done within 3 months.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's another way of easing someone's bank account if they're a little on the tight side.
Yeah, good suggestion. I will split the invoice into 2 payments. One, first 3 months of new fiscal year, and second, next quarter of the new fiscal year, which will be in January. That will make it easy.
I'd say the balance be paid by December.
Okay.
That'd give you 3 months.
So
That's $100 a month if you wanna think about it.
One way to, I guess you could pitch the value to a prospective member, if they're prospective, they're a pilot, is you can just say, that's about 2 hours of flight time. 2 hours of rental time in a 172 these days. I mean, that's, you know, because that's a lot easy. It kind of makes it seem a little, you know, it's like, it's a little bit more easy to swallow that amount of money when you're like, okay, well, yeah, that's about how much I'm going to spend if I go tool around the air.
Public Affairs Assistant Officer, please write me a short memo on the
value
value
of members. And I suggest David helps you as a primary public affairs officer to make it look interesting and engaging. And I think it's generally speaking, it's a good marketing message if we can show the value of being a member of our organization. We can regularly post it on our Facebook page and so on and so forth. Yes.
And I met a fella at RCC at tutoring, and he was a former cadet, and he had some interest and might come back. And then I've been buttonholing various people, those 2 anyway, and then there was a round robin at the Cybersecurity Club, and I added the Civil Air Patrol as one of my interests. So
Yeah,
it's pretty fertile ground at RCC.
that's good. And
They're busy.
other places you can raise awareness besides, you know, traditional air shows and whatnot. Like every month, pretty much at every airport, there is a airplane show day, right? So people try to save on taxes and they display their aircraft. So if you know of such event, let me know. We will make aware other members, see if we can maybe bring an aircraft if it's available, etc. So
One
yes.
suggestion. Okay. No. And that is that maybe we could give the first year membership to new members at half price, just the first year. That might help.
I don't know. I mean, I don't believe it's a good idea to have a cut in the first year membership. I think it's more motivational when you invest financially into something, and then you try to make the best out of it. If it's cheap and you know that other members carry the loads, then
Maybe they could qualify for it, for the discount.
Well, bring your second family member and save.
Because, right, the price of, let's say, internet goes up, and we're gonna be off balance in our budget, so we can't say we're gonna cut this, and then, something happens down the line, like first or something like April, then we
Yes.
pitch in again.
So right now, by the way, our budget has no provisions for maintenance of the facility, and certain maintenance items have been carried on by members voluntarily. Like I brought the tiles for replacement. We need to find moment and install those, water damaged tiles, etc. Mike Swift was buying light bulbs. Like you can see, we have quite a lot of lights off, so we just need to count how many are not working and replace them. And it goes through the building, it goes through the hangar, etc. So we still rely on basic contributions for items you can afford, or maybe you have laying around and doing no good to you. Like I installed, for example, Wi-Fi router. It's a mesh router which covers hangar and the office, and so on and so forth. So think in other ways how you can contribute in addition to the membership dues, and getting additional roles, getting additional ratings. When you make these meetings more engaging, it makes more interesting to new members. Yes, Chuck.
One of the reasons why our dues are so high is because of the facility. Is that correct?
Twofold. One, cost of facilities went up.
Right.
That's one. But two, our membership is staying flat. Okay, we used to have what 100 members in the best time, and the facility was very cheap. Now we tried talking to airport management. They don't see a lot of value in our organization at this time because they don't run the air show here. When they were running air show, we would bring cadets from all the neighboring squadrons. We would be here in person ourselves, and it would be obvious what we do. And occasionally they have a beacon going off, and Mike Swift just shows up and finds it, and they shut it down, and nobody even knows it happened. And Mike, as a member, contributed to it. They kind of take it for granted, right? So more presence we show, more value we bring, and in events like this Riverside Airport Cafe event, and going to the meetings, airport manager is running every month. We will probably build the value back.
Well, one of the things that I noticed, there's a lot of groups that use this facility, other CAP organizations and things like that.
Correct.
And we've always done it on a donation basis for them to donate if they want to. Have we ever considered charging them a fee to utilize
Well,
that
that was kind of hook and bait in my mind. So the reason whenever the group is asking, can we make an event here, training or whatnot, I have two thoughts in my mind. A, more times we give our facilities to the group, more chances I have to come to the group commander and say, listen, we used our facilities this many times. Why don't we make other squadrons contribute just marginally, like $100 for participation for using a facility, whatever works. We have to be fair. The second reason I allow that to happen, I want to potentially attract senior members to join our squadron, switch from other units, if it makes sense for them logistically. So I would not stop sharing the facility with the group, even if they don't contribute, because anyway, it stays vacant and doesn't do any good. But we have good equipment, we have air conditioning environment, we have tables, we have TV, and so on and so forth, internet.
I agree for the bigger picture, but for our squadron locally, it kind of seems like it would make sense.
It does, but to be honest, like every other squadron is struggling in a similar way.
Right.
For example, Chino Cadet Squadron, they lost their facility in fire over a year ago, and they are currently having meetings in some mobile container or whatnot. I think the Redlands Squadron just got some kind of facility from the airport, because the airport is trying to revive their operations some way. It's challenging time. I can see the gas prices.
Yeah.
I filled up my tank for my small GTI. It only takes like 11 gallons, and I paid $70+. Like, I couldn't believe my eyes.
That's great. I'm at 140.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I don't know how you guys drive with these massive trucks, to be honest.
It was just a thought. In all honesty, I don't think $300 is bad. When you break it down to what you're getting for your money and things like that. I have
In
no
my
issue.
honest opinion, it's not.
I agree.
Beats 424.
Yeah, well, and keep in mind it's tax deductible, right? So, of course, if you break that level of itemization, if you don't, then it kind of doesn't make much difference. But still, you have to keep the record to show in case IRS asks, okay, this is actually how much I contributed to this organization. And just a reminder, every time you drive here, write down the mileage, okay? Every time you buy donuts, it's the smallest it gets, but you buy donuts 10 times, it adds up. So small things come together.
I try to look at different things. And one is contributions from corporations. I think it's worthwhile trying, since a lot of the parts that are put in this airplane here on this base, any of the airplanes here, they'll come out of Spruce Aircraft. But
They've been willing to give us, we'll say, 1 month's rent. And there's ways of doing that. You can go in person and talk to them, ask for a manager. They do make certain contributions in certain areas. The other things is Wreaths Across America. I believe that for every wreath that's sold, there's $5 that goes to the squadron. So if we have just 20 members sell 10, that's 1 block. If people take and support that, that's $1,000. That's 2 months.
Let's start.
Yeah, I'm actually
Looking
looking,
at
I'm looking
on
into that. I spoke to Kenneth
Michelle,
Berner.
may I ask you to make a little list?
Oh, yes, I
Or maybe you can do it on your
Mhm.
notepad.
yeah, I already
So
spoke to.
how we can help, just list out some items. So Wreaths Across America is one, corporate contributions and Craft Spruce is another.
Has anyone approached the city council? Because the city owns this airport. Has anyone approached any of the city council for funding or
We
for?
haven't.
I personally know a council member, I'll ask her.
Don't we
Well, if you
In
can,
fact, this is her district.
if you can make an appointment or maybe have them invite us and make a presentation, what we do for the community, I certainly can
Put together a few slides. Bob can join me. Whomever wants to contribute, we can do that.
Dan Olson was on the airport commission here at one time and worked with the city council. And that's when we got things pretty cheap. And then he had to leave. And since then, we've never gone back to the council to ask for assistance. We use the word assistance to help out this squadron in regards to its monthly payments for the rent we have. Of course, they're gonna say, well, you're getting a free hangar, and we charge
Government.
$300 for a hangar, and you got so much space there. But we just say that this is what we bring in. I mean, I buy gas from this airport.
Yeah, I buy gas from this airport too, and plenty of it.
It was just a thought, because, I mean, obviously, we may not have a direct effect on the city today, but if there's a disaster or there's help needed or something like that, that's a pretty big deal,
Well, I suggest that you all think about options to raise funds. And if you come up with a great idea, I can run it through the ranks and get approval for the specific fundraiser. Wrath Across America is approved on annual basis, and there is nothing we really need to do other than sign up and actually contribute at each member level. It's very easy to do that, in fact. So, and that comes sometime soon. Yes.
On the REITs, across America plan too, like, obviously, Michelle and I have been talking about that, outside of the meeting. But, I've been brainstorming I have a list on my phone of, like, restaurants and stuff where I'm good with the owners or the franchise owners where, I'm there every day or every other day, where I'm hoping that once we get it started, I can hand them, our information and say, can you guys either as a business make a contribution through that program, or put up a flyer in their window to allow people to walk by and say, oh, what's that? And it may not be a lot, but if it gets like a handful of donations, it still is worth it.
There are many creative ways to
Raise public awareness about specific fundraiser. And one of them, I can make relatively inexpensive posters, postcard size, with QR code, which brings exactly to our donation page on the program, and we can put that poster anywhere we would like, at flight schools, at
When I was walking around the airport on Saturday morning waiting to see if the clouds would clear up for me to fly, I noticed there's in the lobby, there's in those the bulletin board area, all that, there's in the stands for where they have the flight school information, there's zero presence of CAP up there. There's no flyers for us, there's no posters up. I mean, and nobody comes down this street.
Yeah, let's write that down. So
Yeah.
put a poster in
Yeah, because nobody comes down Gomendi Drive, right, unless you're got business down here. So that's the only place where you can see CAP anywhere is that sign right outside this gate. And so I think having a bigger presence on the at the terminal at the airport is.
one interesting development which is going on. Terry Pratt's company hopefully will install digital display at airport premises. He is working on that, and as a contribution to us, we will have a little bit of advertisement time on that display to bring awareness about the organization once that display is installed.
Other thing we were thinking of, we spoke about this about a year ago, having a table set up. And since now Chris is, PR person? I don't know.
Public affairs.
Yes, that's it.
And David
Assistant.
We could set up, I don't know if we need your approval ahead of time or not, but just go to the cafe in our uniforms, set up in the terminal, because that's where they usually have everyone sit in, and then hopefully people can come
Spend a
by
couple
and-
hours on a Saturday morning when it's busy.
Exactly, yeah. I know we spoke about it before, but nothing ever got put into
Yeah,
action.
nothing happened. I suggested whenever we are flying cadets, if
Mhm.
someone can come over and support that mission by presence and answering people's questions, even if we refer cadets to other squadrons, we still build
Group level community. The other way to engage people, and next meeting we have airspace education night. Let's revisit the engagement at the school level, because we have plenty of opportunities, and that goes back not only to our budget and whatever, that more talks about what we do for organization and what organization does for us. So engaging schools, restarting the teacher on a plane program builds that participation in the community. Going and doing maybe monthly or at least quarterly presentations at local schools builds our community and reinforces our mission within the community. Yes, Mike.
The Flavov Airport Cafe is big on memorabilia. So if we could think of something appropriate to give them that, they'd probably hang it on their wall.
Well, what we can do from income generation perspective, we can create our own merchandise, right? Of course, it comes with cost, so you have to budget it all together, right? So let's say we want to make Squadron 5 cups or Squadron 5 caps or whatever, anything which promotes our organization, our brand, so to speak. We can sell it through acceptable channels. It can be sold through cafe who is interested in participating. It can be sold through Facebook Marketplace. It can be sold whatever online in many ways. So think about it. There is no idea which is unacceptable. All ideas to begin with are perfectly fine. And once we talk through those ideas, we can weed out those which are not viable. Yes, Chris.
Also driving up either membership and or attendance of members. One of the things that I've been thinking about on the Facebook side of things is, and this is just a good idea, like I can schedule posts that will go up like on Monday and on Mondays in the afternoon and like Tuesday in the morning to remind people, hey, we have a meeting coming up this day. So Monday would be like the 24-hour reminder, right? And then Tuesday would be the reminder, and then these would be scheduled posts, so they would come up. It wouldn't matter if I'm busy or not, or anybody's busy. I would make the post like on Thursday and be like, okay, go up on Monday, and so that would be something for Facebook to say, hey, come to our meeting, and anybody who's following us on Facebook would then see that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Plus, I have an approval to post at least in 2 SoCal aviation groups, SoCal pilots and SoCal aviators. Those are pretty big groups, and actually a handful of members came through those, at least candidates who didn't stay, but nevertheless we had certain amount of interest generated. And every time I make a post, which I then distribute through these groups, I get a handful of people asking me questions in personal messaging or directly under the post comments. So certainly building our social media presence works. We need to design a flyer. I totally agree with you. And we need to distribute that flyer in every flight school here. It should be there. I don't see why. And even CBU talked to me and asked how they can help. And I told them, well, give me an opportunity to talk in your events every so often. And they invited me only once, which I did talk. And a couple of guys came over and then they disappeared. That's fine. But nevertheless, I mean, there is attraction from flight schools. And probably targeting not so much to CFIs or CFIIs, especially young girls and guys, they're there only to build their hours and they're gone. But for new prospect pilots, for pilots who build new ratings, interested in, and they're staying in this community continuously, for them it's more appropriate to join our squadron. And we need to figure out how to target this specific audience.
I got a good one. Let's do a Halloween themed Nighthawk and push it, and then maybe we could after we close down the hangar we could all go to some venue.
Well, remember that's again good idea. Let's do that. Nighthawk is great. There will be people around, probably bringing,
free meal.
Yeah, you only have 1 week to even plan this, and that's an awful short order. You got to think your planning time and how you're going to get the information out.
Well, it's
So we're already
5 weeks.
You only got 2 more days, and you're already at Friday, which is the end of the week. And the following Tuesday is going to be the last Tuesday. I just think it's kind of most of the Halloween festivities are already in place, just like at Redlands
Well, we can try.
Yeah, just to, even if we can't get anything with us, we can at least, piggyback on what the 14th thing. Piggybacking on what the cafe is doing is pretty fruitful, I think, too, because there'd be a lot
Well,
of people.
I need a champion for the cafe thing, so I will not be here. There is no way I can help because I'll be gone.
We're definitely interested, because I'm actually off that, is
The
this
14th,
Saturday,
yes,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm off that
So
night.
if you run with it, you're welcome to communicate with our squadron members. I'll get you in touch with Corona commander.
And we already worked with
Um,
them before, they know us, so.
Yeah, they're
Perfect.
amazing.
And Chris, I'm asking you to, work with David and put together a poster, uh, relevant information about our squadron, short, concise, pick few pictures, maybe from Facebook page, show aircraft, show G1000, our schedule, and QR code for the web page, where they can find more information. Yes, Mike.
Yeah, we have a month and change for the Halloween Nighthawk. It's the October 31st. So that's pretty good notice if we wanted to turn that into
That's
an
fine.
invitation
So,
event.
Michael, you will be the champion for that. So build it up,
Okay, I think
communicate,
it'd be fun.
you can communicate on Teams,
And then those who
shuffle
are,
around ideas, what we do, and how we engage.
Help, so that could be your assistant?
okay, I got it.
Okay.
We'll push the October 31st Tuesday Nighthawk as the Halloween event and invite people far and wide.
Okay, so Harper, you are helping Michael to work on Halloween theme for the Nighthawk on October 31st.
We got several meetings coming up ahead of that.
And I'll dedicate time in beginning of every meeting to give status updates from you, Michael, and from you, Michelle, and Chris, on these initiatives.
And next week, for next week's, I'll put together something for, again, for the school initiative, go back over that like I did in the spring. Just like they said too, because in the spring the time was kind of bad because it was like right at the end of the school year, but now we're at the beginning of the school year. And so if anybody does know any, I mean, we can even invite the teachers as a guest to the meeting to hear it directly from that meeting too, so that information, so.
And with Meets Across America, I spoke to Major Brenner.
Yes, Major Brenner will
Be here next week, so we
He
will.
said there's nothing really else I need to do, just go to the website and sign up. I was just trying to wait for all the stuff I was trying to finish up to do. But hopefully I can get that website up. We'll have our own, special website address for CAP Squadron 5, so we can distribute those. Hopefully, maybe not for this coming December, but hopefully the next December, because it's a little bit too quick, I guess,
Mhm.
to have everything ready for December, because we're already in September,
Okay.
October. But we can try.
Yeah, we should.
Something to consider for social media presence, although, Facebook is very big. There's more local stuff like Nextdoor, things like that, that I think would reach more local when we're looking at selling wreaths, things like that. I'll check into whether or not we can have our own presence on Nextdoor as CAP Riverside.
Oh, next door.
Is it next door?
Next door.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very local usually. It's usually either by neighborhood or by city. And,
Good. I like it. So we have same goal, right? So we have to bring more members, we have to raise funds. Let's continue working on these ideas. I again remind you about Teams, right? So make an effort, install Teams on your mobile phone. If it's easier on mobile phone to work with Teams than on a computer, because you can switch from one organization to another, especially if you use Teams for work. On a computer, unfortunately, you have to sign out and sign back in. It's a little bit pain, but on mobile phone, you simply click on your avatar, select a new organization, and you are in. don't have to remember even your password. It's there. So put your ideas. You got an idea doing something unrelated to CP, go to Teams, put it in general chat, and whomever does it first starts the thread, and everybody just responds to that thread. This way we have place to go to and actually elaborate more on specific ideas.
Can we have beer at the Halloween party?
No beer in the hangar.
Okay.
no beer in CEP events anyway. Root beer. Root beer works. Zero proof beer. Yeah, that works too. Good.
I'll take a picture of this so I can have it.
All right. So, David, did we have anyone on YouTube?
We did. We have Luke Feenstra and George Bernard.
All right. So, George, Luke, if you have any ideas, email me, text me, any way, any form of communication you prefer. Please share your ideas with me. I will make sure we revert to these ideas in next meetings.
Make sure you check out all the comments Harper has made regarding the party. Yeah, all right. She's got a good idea.
She got a theme for the party.
Haunted hangar.
And also Harper wants to help with design of the poster. So Chris, please communicate with Harper and David too. So create a work group and present your results next meeting or week after next, whenever you're ready.
Haunted hangar. It would be fun name for the event.
Yeah, great idea, Harper. So, good. Anything else? We kind of segued from emergency services to more relevant, probably at the moment, topic.
It's a financial emergency service.
It's not emergency yet, so we're good. And this month, Terry saves our budget one more time, so we are fine. We are not going over the budget.
When's the rollover time for the new?
Our fiscal year runs through end of September. So October 1st is a new year
Okay,
for
that's
CAP.
the date.
And yeah, you have, good connections in the corporate world. You're always welcome to bring it in, and maybe you find someone who is fond of aviation in one way or the other. That's a great way to get a donor for the squadron.
Well, and don't forget to tell them that it's a tax write-off too.
Correct. So if you do talk to people about specific donations, let me show you how they can do it on our website actually. So I will share my screen in a moment.
All your aircraft expenses, uniforms, meals, mileage, are all the,
I'll share on TV too.
all that about 10,000 on my taxes, which I'm going to submit next week, just for silver patrol.
Yeah. Well, as I told you, it all adds up. I can dig up my tax return, but my expenses relevant for CEP were in the range of a couple of thousand easily. So keep track of them. That's the only task you have to not forget, because it's easy to forget. The way I recover all my travels to the squadron, I keep track of days I'm not going. So for me it's easy. I just
Your FAA physical, glasses, that's all deductible.
yeah.
All deductible.
So how people can contribute to our squadron without, sending a check and whatnot. So if they click on ways to give, it will take to a different site. I don't know why. And you click on donate now. It will bring up this page. So here you can put whatever, well, whomever contributes can put it any number they wish up to $1,000. They can make it monthly, etc. And they can put any amount they want, and then they have to dedicate this donation. No, take my words back. Shouldn't be dedicate this donation. Should be add comments. In the comment section, they should put that something to remember. PCR-California-387 Riverside Senior Squadron 5. Okay, and yes, you do have to click on dedicate. And it can be, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. Not dedicate, but under other, designate to other, and then in comments you should specify Riverside, California 387 Senior Squadron 5. This way it will be counted on our checking account.
Can you review that website again?
So does this go to national and then they redistribute?
Yeah. Well, the way CEP finance works is very interesting, to say the least. National has one way of distributing funds. They send those to Wings. Wing has local finance program where there is probably the only Wing paid employee is the accountant for the Wing. So the accountant keeps track of everything going on at each unit level. So that person is doing a lot of work, and she's backed up tremendously. She's currently in June. So I cannot even tell how much money we have right now. Nobody can. So we can see the snapshot of June, and Michelle and I, we try to reconcile our account with income and expense. We have all the records, but we cannot reconcile it. It doesn't add up with the Wing reports. I get one number, the Wing shows completely different one. So what I'll do, I'll write like a couple of page document with screenshots where people should go to contribute through the web page. But they can always write a check, and the check has to be to Civil Air Patrol, but in the memo they still should put PCR California 387. This way we're gonna get it when we deposit it in a certain way. There is a process to deposit the check.
Let me see if I got this right. We can't utilize funds we collect until we pass them through national.
Not really. No, if it goes through this web page, yes.
Okay, but we can use the funds we collect.
So whatever we collect here in the form of cash or check is immediately available to us as soon as we deposit them in a bank.
And
the way we deposit it in a bank, we have a deposit slip book, which is actually a whole California Wing uses one checking account.
okay.
That makes
comes
it
right back to us, right?
Yes, and if we do it right, we do it right. Like we follow the process. We specify what is the purpose of these funds, where they came from, and so etc. And it reflects on our balance. The problem right now, I don't see our balance after June.
Right. What if somebody gave us cash?
We should deposit it the same way.
Okay.
I mean, if certain amount of cash is allowed for us to use without depositing to the bank, like basic small donations we collect in the form of a box in the fridge or here, we use this cash to buy supplies, food, whatever. So it's a petty cash. We are not, reporting that upstream, and there is a limit to that. If my memory serves me right, cannot exceed $500 or something like that.
Per incident? Or per
A running balance cannot exceed $500. But don't quote me on that. it's been a while since I read the regulation.
I'm guessing we don't come close to $500.
No.
No, the last time I checked, it is 500. Anything above 500 above, then you have to start declaring it and write it.
Yes. And one of the initiatives we want to bring to the wing is actually rebuilding the finance program, make it more user-friendly and more relevant to the present environment, make even membership dues payment electronically. Technology is there, and the effort required to build it is such a small effort, actually. So this page, which took me, I don't know how many clicks, let's count, right? So I'll go back, I land on Squadron 5 page. Step 1, okay, click on ways to give. Now, for whatever reason, it redirects to sub page, which is now on a national site, right? And I have to click again on donate now. After I click again, it, for whatever reason, brings another page, but see, now there is a form ID, which supposedly links this donation to us already somehow. Don't ask me, I have no idea how it works behind the scenes, but I'm just counting links. So I counted, what, 2 already, right? Three clicks. Now I have to choose one-time donation, amount, whatever, and for whatever reason it defaults to $35. Don't ask me why. Maybe it just at some point I made this an example, whatever. And then I have to designate it for other, and I have to put a comment. PCR, California 387, Riverside, Senior, Squadron 5. Save. After that I click donate, and it will, wherever, do consider becoming blah blah blah, keeping one-time gift, and then it uses Google Pay, okay, which is good, electronic form of payment, fantastic. So if I'm enrolled in Google Pay, I will not even have to enter my card, supposedly. So if I click right now and I cover $3 transaction cost, I will just use the card I have saved in my Google Pay profile, and that will be it. If you have never used Google Pay profile, or if you use Safari, Safari may offer you Apple Pay option, right? Which is, again, if you use Apple Pay, it's going to be super easy. If you don't, this is what it's going to look like. You click on credit card, and you enter credit card number, month and CVV or CVC, and click continue, and maybe it's going to ask you something else. So it's a lot of work, kind of. Right.
Yeah,
So,
that's way too many though.
well, it's very hard to communicate, and when people are already kind of uneasy about giving away money, they start clicking on this button, on these places, and they forget about it. So if it's more than 3 clicks, the rule of thumb, people will not be interested.
Well, and plus people are
I will actually do an experiment right now, okay? So I will contribute, let's say, $25, and I want to see this money land on a checking account. Okay? So you're all witnesses, I did that, and I did the trick. Supposedly it should work. So I do this, I use Google Pay, and I use my American Express, and then Michelle will report once she sees it cleared on an account. Okay, phone number, donate anonymously, okay, then doesn't matter. Okay, I should get it in on my... Yeah, it's, see, many employers have donation matching program, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if your employer matches your donations, you can potentially ding them on that. skip that. Oh my god. Okay. So why Nevada? And now, okay, it keeps asking me if I want to donate. Okay, well, and they can spread the word, etc. Give me more. Give me 5 cents. We'll see if it works. I hope it does. Well, I listen to General Aviation podcast. It's one of my favorites. Max Trescott is running it, and one really bothers me before he gets to the subject. He talks like for 15 minutes about donation to his cause. I get it. It's business, but it's annoying at some point, especially if you already contributed and you have no options. And sometimes he talks like for 15 minutes about all people who contributed. Okay, I mean, you can probably advertise it on your webpage, but occupying the podcast time, I don't think it's the best idea. Okay, so that worked. Hopefully, we'll see. It should come up on a ledger somehow. We will see. Look for $25 coming from some unidentified source. It's not gonna be that fast. It's probably gonna take.
To mark that down as a tax deductible donation.
Well, I hope they're gonna send me a receipt.
But would it be, are we considered now in 2024 budget, or still back in 2024?
Well, from a personal taxes point of view, we are still in 2023. So whatever you contribute to the CEP right now, through the end of the year, is tax deductible for 2023. CEP fiscal year has nothing to do with your fiscal year.
So I mean, this $25, just make sure I'm in the right.
Yes. That should appear supposedly, yes, in CEP in this fiscal year, because it should be quick. We'll see about it. And by the way, I want to check if email came through of any kind. Yeah, so thank you for your support. I got the receipt. It's pretty formal. Let's see if they have tax ID and everything. Yeah, it's all good. At least I have it for my record. We'll see how it shows on our Squadron account. Well, that concludes the official meeting. We can definitely continue unofficially if we still have any questions to